Blah. Yo, what's up? Sorry, this is going to be another rough and raw, dirty video because that's just how it is. The Wi-Fi upload speed does not allow for live streaming the way that it used to, and I'm not going to risk that or, deal with the hectic craziness that comes with that. I'm still in Padaya, Israel. It is very, very hot here, much like it is in the States, but it's a different kind of hotness. But it's beautiful. It's a beautiful place. Don't get me wrong. So I was reading online about the Misfits show in Arizona, in Phoenix, Arizona. And, I had heard, like everybody else has heard, that it was going to be 116 degrees and yada, yada, yada. And, all this, that, and the other. I'm thinking, man, what the hell are these guys going to do? Because, in general, a show is hot. I mean, really, really, really hot. Like, especially if you're in the pit, everybody's moving, everybody's like clothed, especially, people that are too cool for school and they gotta, rep with their heritage leather jackets, to show that they're punk rock and whatnot, fashion over, comfort or whatever, that whole sort of vibe. And the moving around and the lights and the gear and the noise and, the adrenaline and the body heat, all of it making this potent stew that, is a very hot stew. And so, man, I rushed to YouTube to go and watch the show, and somebody managed to get the full show up there. And I didn't watch the whole thing. I skimmed through the show, and man, they did 90 minutes and 116 degrees of heat. And I was watching the show, I saw the Prudential Center show, as you know. I did a whole review on it. I'm not proud of that video either, but you can watch it. It's on the channel. Not one of my best videos, as is this one probably. But I was looking for differences when I was watching. I was like, what are the differences going to be between this show and the New Jersey show, considering the heat? And, there's a lot of factors to consider here. And I'm just talking about the heat alone. You have a bunch of dudes who are not only over 50, but most of them are over 60 or just kissing 60. I think Acey Slade, he's got to be, I don't know how old Acey Slade, he's got to be in his 40s comparatively to Dave Lombardo. I imagine is somewhere in his 50s, maybe even early 60s. Doyle's, 59, 60 years old? Jerry's in his 60s, and Glenn's the oldest one on the stage, man. Glenn is 67, 68 years old. And again, 116 degrees. Are they going to strip down? Are they going to, how are they going to even cool the stage? Because how do you do that with everything that's going on with a show? How are you going to do that? You're going to have giant turbine fans up above, blowing hot air down? You're going to have misters coming where the monitors are? Doesn't that mess with the sound gear? Is the sound gear waterproof? All these thoughts are going through my mind. How do you handle something like this? Honestly, it's not so easy, even just from that standpoint. I mean, mind you, they do shows, bands play in Arizona all the time, but I don't know, maybe when it's like this, you're supposed to play indoors. But the Misfits played outdoors, and again, with guys of that age and that caliber, and these guys are in fantastic shape, but it's like, dude, what's it called? Overheating, exhaustion, dehydration. These can affect anybody, even an athlete in their prime, even an athlete that, is working out every single day. You could still get hit and hurt in the worst kind of way. Hydration, man, is serious business. And, I'm here right now. I'm trying to think about this, as I think and approximate this. Notice I'm standing in the shade and not in the sun. I was just down in a lot where I did those vlogs, which you could watch on my channel. And it was, 109 degrees in dry heat. Arizona is dry heat too. But I would imagine, I don't know, maybe it's just as dry as a lot. A lot is one of the driest places on earth. So it's like 109 degrees might feel like 90 degrees anywhere else in the States. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. So I'm trying to imagine that kind of heat in Arizona on stage with, like, you know, like, I'm thinking about each player. You got Doyle, he's just wearing like the pants, right? He's always shirtless, but he's also moving around and crashing his guitar. Then you have Glenn, and you know, man, like, okay, so Glenn, he's wearing just like you know, his black sleeveless shirt and his black trousers that he wears everywhere, because that's just who Glenn is and what Glenn does. And but the thing about Glenn is active, dude. He's going up and down the stage, running around the stage. I'm just talking about in a generalized Misfits reunion show. And he's singing. And, you know, I'm not a singer, or at least I like to sing, but I'm not a singer. But I know that even just trying to sing, what kind of, you know, it makes you gassed. And what I mean by that is it's like it's a boxing term. You get out of breath so easily. You have to control your breath when you're singing. You have to know how to breathe while you're singing. You have to find little pockets where, like, you know when Glenn holds the mic out for the crowd to do the whoa, and it's like a great move. But you have to also imagine that gives Glenn a moment to rest. Again, this dude is in his like late 60s, you know what I'm saying? Singing songs like of that caliber. Singing songs that he was singing in his 20s. And sounding just as great doing it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and then doing that in 116 degrees heat. And then you have Jerry. Jerry's probably, I would say, man, maybe Jerry's even the most active of all, because Jerry runs across the stage too at a typical Misfits show. He's doing his power slides, though he didn't do them in Prudential Center, you know, and he's also wearing the most gear. I don't know what that gear weighs on him. I don't know what his guitar weighs. I don't know what that leather vest weighs. But, you know, you have to imagine that all of this changes. All of this amps up in 116 degree heat. By the way, going back to the singing point, try walking at a brisk pace and talking at the same time. And notice how much you start going as you're trying to breathe. It's like when you're talking, you're not breathing. You know what I mean? So it's like it's almost like you're holding your breath while you're doing this thing. So it is a tremendous physical activity to sing, let alone sing actively on a stage in 116 degree heat as someone in their 60s. And then Jerry Only's doing that. He's doing the backing vocals, but he's doing it with a spiky leather vest on, man. I mean, this is friggin' insane. It's insane. I'd imagine Dave Lombardo probably has the best setup, because even though Dave Lombardo is also one of the most active on the stage, because he's doing the drums, you know, his arms don't get a break, and he's playing Misfits songs at breakneck speed, I would imagine he's in a slightly better position, only because he's not running around, and he probably has fans, and he probably has a mister. He probably has the best cooling setup on the stage, which allows him to keep, and he also has probably, you know, if he wants to take a sip of water, he could do so real easy. In fact, if he really wanted to, I don't think he did, I didn't see it in the video, but he could have had a Camelback, or he could have had a camel hose, you know, one of those Camelback hoses hooked up, and just been, you know, sipping on water. That would be the best kind of setup. You just have like a hose, and you're just, you know, taking sips of water and whatnot. And then lastly, you know, of all the music to be playing in 116 degree heat, you're playing Misfit songs. Misfit songs that are very demanding vocally, that are very demanding, lots of downstrokes. And again, you got a bunch of guys that want to give 138%. And, you know, after watching the video, I have to say, man, those dudes gave it. They gave it as hard as they could possibly give it in 116 degree heat. Were there noticeable differences from the Prudential Center show? Absolutely. Absolutely. There were breaks, as there should have been. If they had just pushed through the whole show like it was a normal show at a normal temperature, they would have been foolish and stupid. Instead, I saw Doyle kept going off. Doyle seemed to probably, I don't know, from watching YouTube video, thousands and thousands of miles away, far removed from what was happening at that time, what I could visually see, it seemed like Doyle was the most affected. And Doyle was breaking between every song, and I don't know if he was hydrating. I have to assume that he was hydrating. And you know what? That was the right thing to do. Doyle was showing up for himself, so that way that Doyle could continue to contribute to the show as he needed to contribute to the show. So that was the right move to do. And you know, he's going off stage. He's probably taking sips of water. Jerry, to a slightly less extent, is doing something similar. I can't really see what Acey's doing, and I can't see what Dave is doing. They just seem to be around. And Glenn, and I don't know if this is in a show of machismo or something, Glenn is the only one who doesn't leave the stage, man. He does like once or twice. And again, like I said, I was scrubbing the video, so I didn't see the entire show, but he seems to be staying there. Like I basically played a little bit of each song and kind of scrubbed around. Glenn seems to be the one that stayed the most on the stage. I don't know if that was like trying to be like, hey, look at me, I'm, 67 years old, still up on the stage, motherfucker, blah, 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 blah. But he never left the stage. I was blown away by that. Was the energy as high energy as Prudential Center? No, it was not. It was significantly lower. I mean, the band sort of, they paced themselves because they were running a marathon in hot heat. And you know what? Because of that, it still made the show that much more incredible to me, because I'm looking at this through the prism of like, look at the onslaught that these guys are taking on, and they're being responsible about it. They're not being foolish. They're pacing themselves. They're making sure that they're hydrated and that they're doing their thing and blah, 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 blah. And lo and behold, they make it a full 90 minutes. That's the length. That's how long it was at Prudential Center. So they did 90 minutes inside, probably on a much cooler stage at the Prudential Center, and they did 90 minutes in 116 degrees because they're the fucking Misfits. I mean, it really did blow me away. It blew me away. They played different songs. They played Attitude. They played, the set list was very different. Blood Feast was on the set list, but apparently they didn't play Blood Feast. That's one that has escaped me. I've never heard them do Blood Feast. I would love to hear Blood Feast live. I'd love to hear any of the rest of Earth AD live. We always get Earth AD, we get Green Hell, and we get, I guess, if you want to consider Die Die My Darling and later versions of Earth AD, have that as part of the thing, even though that's its own EP. But what else can I say about, I don't know, my 2 cents on watching that show? I was blown away. They didn't move as fast. They were moving slower. Like I said, they were just sort of pacing themselves. They're making it so that they're not going to overexert themselves. Although, again, I can only imagine Doyle was hurting. But here's the thing. By the end of that show, Doyle was on stage. He was still doing his thing. He was still doing that 138, solo. The hardest, easiest solo there ever existed. Often imitated, but never, often replicated, but never perfectly imitated. What's the proper way to say that? I don't know. I'm trying to think of other little things that I noticed while watching the show. As I said, I saw the big circular overhead fans. A big shout out to Garrett Ware, who is a fiend somewhere on the West Coast. I met him at MSG in 2019, briefly. I don't even know if whatever. I knew it was him because we're Facebook friends, but I knew it was him because he was wearing the Fiend mask with the devil lock. And here's this guy in 116 degree heat. And I asked him, what was it seeing? I was like, dude, how did you stay cool? He was like right up against the rail in the Fiend mask, like in 116 degree heat. Like, what a friggin' G, dude. What a G. I mean, foolish. It's also Garrett, it was foolish thing to do. But if you're staying probably here, that's dedication. That is dedication. I mean, that's scary, dude. Now, here's the thing. From the video, and I couldn't see all the way down into the crowd, Not like I could at Prudential Center, because like I told you, I was sitting off to the side and I got to see the entire crowd. So I got to see the stage. It was a completely different experience to do that. Hold on, there's a jet flying overhead. It's going to be annoying. I told you this was not going to be one of my better videos. From the POV that I could see in that video, it looked like there was not much moshing. Maybe there was some moshing. I'm sure there had to be some. But everybody was very much standing still. Again, there's giant fans turning above, those giant turbine sort of fans turning above. And just trying to stay cool. It was too hot for moshing. I would imagine. Now, someone could correct me and say, no, there was moshing, you just can't see it in the video. Maybe they're right. I don't know. But from what I watched in that video, up front at least, it was, everybody's standing still. So it's interesting how the heat really informed the energy of the show. Not making it a lesser show, but making it a more incredible show, because despite the obstacles, they still gave it their all. Unbelievable. I saw Acey Slade. I didn't shout out Acey Slade in the last video, but Acey Slade, dude, he's in his little, his little pen, his little penned off area with his monitor, and he's doing his thing. He's, pumping his fist up in the air just like Jerry does, and, circling around. I don't know if I said this in the last video, but, very recently, it really came to me who Jerry Only is in the Misfits, and what makes his element so essential to the DNA. He's the fucking Chuck Dukowski of the Misfits. People always say that Chuck Dukowski is the fucking heart of the band, of the Black Flag or whatever. Well, so is Jerry Only, dude. That's what makes it the Misfits. So when I'm watching that video, again, I'm watching that combination of those dudes up there and I'm going, that's the Misfits. That's what makes it the Misfits. That's what makes this different from Danzig and Doyle. It's not the Misfits, dude. It's not the Misfits. You need that element. You need Jerry running around. Speaking of Jerry, he's breaking bases again, and I noticed once again, he's not throwing them into the crowd. He's sort of, it kind of annoys me. I'm sorry to say about Uncle Jerry, because when he used to break a base, he did it with such abandon, and then he just throw it into the crowd, and it would go everywhere, and people would fight over the pieces. It was so exciting. And now it's like he still wants to break the bases. And again, it could be for insurance reasons. It could be a safety concern. Who knows? But it's like he just breaks it. He does this thing that's like so rebellious in the act of breaking it. But then he takes it and he throws it off to the side. You know what I'm saying? It's like he doesn't follow through. And it just makes it lessens the action because he doesn't follow through with it. And I think that's because he likes to collect the pieces. He puts them in a coffin case and he gives them to people as presents. I can't fault him for that. Especially, it's like, dude, you're spending money on all these bases only to break them on stage. Like, he'd rather, give them away. Maybe he donates them to charity. I don't know. I know he donates those vests to charity. He makes a lot of those vests. So I got to go inside because it's hot and I need to hydrate myself. But I also noticed Acey Slade throw his guitar up in the air. I don't know if that's his good guitar or if that was just a burner guitar. But Acey Slade, so caught up. I feel like Acey Slade, and this is just my vibe, like what I was feeling from watching the show, I feel like Acey Slade was like, this was like such a challenge, and it's like, and he's wearing just as much gear as Jerry, man. And I don't know if he has the same cooling setup that maybe Dave Lombardo has because he's further back and he's more stationary. He's not running across the stage, so it's like he's wearing more gear, but he's less physically in motion. He's not less physically active because he's strumming guitar, he's singing into the mic and stuff. That's, again, as we said, that's its own physical onslaught. But he's not like, it's not like he's running straight across the stage. Another thing to notice, and I was looking at it in the video this time, when Doyle is, moving around and Jerry's moving around, his boots, at the bottom of his boots, it looks like he's wearing some sort of sneaker. So it's like he's wearing this gauntlet on his shins and then there's sneakers, which is smart because that allows him to run and move on stage while still looking in his getup. Doyle is wearing platform shoes, okay? He's wearing these big cumbersome platform shoes. Could you imagine misstepping? Could you imagine a guy as big and as heavy as Doyle is rolling his ankle by accident while on stage? While trying to play guitar, while smashing his guitar. And you know, again, in 116 degree heat, it's probably, so right now, it's about 100 degrees where I'm at. It's about 100, I think. Maybe 95. And I'm like sweating my friggin' balls off right now. But to think of like playing a show in heavy like music gear and then like trying to sing in you know, what, like 16 to 20 more degrees hotter than this, I can't imagine. I can't imagine. So I tip my hat to the band, dude, because like I really thought, but before going to the show, I'm like looking at the stage and I'm thinking again, because I'm in Israel right now, and they have these big industrial blowers, like air blowers, but they blow hot air. I'm thinking, how are they going to get enough stuff onto the stage to keep it cool enough? And you know, off to the side, it looks kind of like it's like smoke coming out, but I think that might be missed. If you look to the sides of the stage, assuming the video is still there, it probably won't be soon enough. If you look to the sides of the stage, you can see like cool water mist, kind of, or it seems like it could be. Maybe it's just like smoke from like a fog machine, but I'm wondering, I'm going, oh, is that how they're doing it? They're like misting themselves on the stage. Is it enough? That's the other thing. Is it enough? I don't think so. But like I said, I thought there was going to be an accident. I honestly did. I thought that they would get on the stage and somebody would overheat, something would happen. It happens very easy, dude. It's so easy to overheat on stage. It's super dangerous. So I'm thinking someone's going to go down. Like there's just no, I mean, these guys are older. There's like something bad's going to happen, because how are they going to do that on the stage? How are they going to make it cool enough? And, you know, like, to their credit, and, you know, I'm glad, obviously, like, I wouldn't want that to happen. I just was, you know, afraid. I was thinking, oh my God, like, what is going to happen in the show? Something is not going to go off with a hitch the way it needs to. But mind you, it's like you get there early, no matter how hot it is. Like, you have to imagine, you know, it's going to be 116 degrees. You know that they're probably taking, you know, hydration packets. Maybe they even have IVs or something that are, you know, putting fluids into their body beforehand. You know, probably hiring some like EMT medic to like, you know, make sure that they're properly hydrated before they even get on the stage. I don't know. All this speculation. I don't actually know. But yeah, I was legitimately concerned before the show that something was going to happen, and I'm so glad to see that not only did nothing happen, but the guys, again, they gave 138%. They crushed it amidst all of the obstacles and pitfalls that could have taken them out. So, fuck yeah, Misfits. Fuck yeah. What else can I tell you? Nothing. There's nothing more to say. Check out my equally terrible video for, I don't know why I think these videos are terrible. I just don't think they're that great. Check out my video for the Misfits Prudential Center show. There's probably more I could say about the set list. I can't think off the top of my head. I'm just trying to think before I leave here if there's anything else. They played She. They played Come Back again, which was great. What else did I catch in that set list? You know, they went from Death Comes Ripping into I Turned Into a Martian, which is how they used to do it back in 2016, or how they've been doing it. Again, it'd be nice if the set list just changed. That's probably my single biggest criticism. Like, the set list needs to change. They need to throw in more deep cuts that they haven't played. Imagine hearing Spook City USA. It would never happen, but imagine if they just you know, started blasting out with Spook City USA, Blood Feast, Hellhound, more and more and more. Okay. All right. You know the drill. Peace, hair grease, stay cool out there. Smash that like button, smash that subscriber button, and we'll see you next time.